Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, Minister Glubish, Minister Schweitzer. I would also like to welcome John Hepburn, CEO of Mitacs, and everyone who is here with us and also online, who's tuning in to live stream. My name is Celia Wonderly, and I'm Chief Customer Officer and Head of Altamel Invent. It is my pleasure to welcome you here today and MC this announcement. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that we are located on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional lands of the First Nations and Métis people. And we respect and celebrate the indigenous innovation on this land since time immemorial and beyond. To kick off today's announcement, I would like to invite Minister Glubish from the Ministry of Service Alberta to the podium.
Well, thank you, Celia, and thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you to my colleague, Minister Schweitzer, for being here with me. Thank you to Nicole and to Corey for all the great work you do at Altamel. And again, thank you to John from Mitacs for being here. And thank you, Altamel, for hosting us here at your beautiful headquarters here in Edmonton. So I'm the resident tech geek in government, and I love that title, even if it's an unofficial title. And today, I'm so excited to be talking about technology. So I have often talked about how the technology industry is not just an industry, it is the future of every industry. And when we talk about technology and the possibilities of technology, data-driven innovation is one of the areas that gets me most excited. As a former venture capital investor who's had a hand in investing in and building dozens and dozens of Alberta technology companies over the last 20 years, it is the data-driven innovations that get me the most excited. And what does that mean? Well, that means talking about artificial intelligence. It means talking about machine learning. These are some skill sets that we have in abundance in Alberta. And Altamel is a great example of a local Alberta company that is a dominant player in that space. And speaking of dominant players, we want Alberta to be a dominant player in the technology space, in the AI space. And that is why, through Minister Schweitzer's leadership, with the release of the Alberta Technology and Innovation Strategy, we are taking so many steps to cement Alberta's position as a global leader in this space. And so as we look to build more of a culture of innovation inside of government, by applying more technology and innovation in everything we do to solve problems in new ways, one of the ways that we can do that is by using more artificial intelligence and machine learning expertise inside of government to solve problems. I'll give you one tangible example. We've been working on a pilot program where we are looking at large sets of data, weather-related data, mapping data, and other types of data, to better predict when and where a wildfire will start in Alberta. And why is this important? Well, it allows us to more proactively distribute our wildfire prevention resources. And by doing this more intelligently, more thoughtfully, thanks to data-driven innovation and artificial intelligence, we are able to save millions of dollars in costs to fight fires and to prevent millions of dollars of unnecessary damage by responding more quickly and more accurately. Well, that's just one example of how we are using AI inside of the government of Alberta to better serve Albertans. Well, I want to make sure that we can do this at scale. And that is why I am so excited about today's announcement to launch the first ever artificial intelligence lab in government for Alberta. This will be called GovLab.ai. And so this is the first public sector artificial intelligence lab in Alberta. And this is a collaboration with Altamel and with Mitacs, and I could not be more excited about this opportunity. This is going to create opportunities for public sector professionals inside of government to learn more about how to apply these kinds of technologies to solve problems inside of government. It's going to open up opportunities for students and graduates to develop their skills as data scientists, to applying them to real practical applications and developing new tools and solving problems in a very real way that will help make life better for all Albertans. And it's going to help them to develop those skill sets, which we know are in very high demand in Alberta and all around the world today. We know that this partnership is going to be a huge part of setting up Alberta for success in an increasingly digital and modern economy. So I'm very proud to be working on this project with AltaML, which is a leading Canadian AI company, as well as with Mitacs, which is a Canadian not-for-profit research organization. And we're hoping to be inviting at least 3 other public sector organizations to join us in this AI lab soon, to explore more AI ideas and models and to build proofs of concepts on how we can implement those to delivering practical solutions. So ultimately, the goal of GovLab.ai is to help us to develop new products, new tools that will make us more efficient, either by improving a service or using data to make better decisions, finding ways to eliminate redundancy, and making our hardworking public servants able to allocate their time to the highest priority tasks where they add the most value, while making easier to reallocate tasks to be covered by AI instead. So GovLab.ai will operate in 4-month cohorts where a dedicated team of AltaML experts, post-secondary associates, and public sector staff will work together to test and develop new AI models to develop workable proofs of concept to apply it in the real world. And where viable, these proofs of concept will then move towards more operationalization. So the idea is we go proof of concept. If it works, we then scale it to operational status. Then we implement it inside of government. And if it makes sense, then let us also commercialize it and export it around the world to other jurisdictions who can benefit from the IP that we develop here in Alberta through this lab. This is going to create jobs. It's going to develop talent. It's going to create a critical mass of data science talent in Alberta that is going to be very exciting, not just for the work that we do at the Government of Alberta and at the AI Lab and in collaboration with AltaML and with Mitacs, but this is going to be benefiting all of the tech ecosystem across Alberta by getting more folks working in the space on real-world problems and developing real-world solutions with technology. So this lab will also include a talent accelerator where students will refine the skills that are in such high demand across the province and all around the world. And this is a new innovative approach to education and collaboration that is needed to help support Alberta's recovery and our economic diversification. So as Alberta continues to cement its reputation as an innovative leader, initiatives like GovLab.ai will bring us closer to our goal. And post-secondary graduates will have experience and practical skill sets needed to continue encouraging growth in our tech sector. Private sector companies will have new opportunities to develop intellectual property and also to hire qualified, fresh talent that can help by hitting the ground running. And public sector workers will be equipped with leading-edge digital skills to help develop better, smarter, and faster services. This is great news for all Albertans. And those Albertans will be able to enjoy the benefits of smarter government services and a stronger digital economy. GovLab.ai is a win for Alberta, and I cannot wait to see the projects that will come out of our pilot cohort. This is the next step for Alberta, and we could not be more excited to be working with our partners on this initiative. And with that, I'd like to invite my colleague, Minister Schweitzer, to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Minister Glubish, and thank you for your passion for the tech and innovation space here in the province of Alberta. This is an exciting day for us in the government. This is time for us to walk the walk when it comes to the innovation economy that's evolving across the world. We've been promoting and put our flag in the ground a couple of years ago saying we wanted to establish Alberta as a technology hub in Canada. And a couple of years later, take a look at how far this industry has come in Alberta. You have the city of Edmonton and Calgary, both now ranked well into the the top 50 in North America, rising in the rankings. We've got fast growth in our tech talent workforce here in the province of Alberta, to the point now where we have to increase the size and scale of the opportunities at our post-secondary institutions. So again, this is a true credit to the innovation economy in Alberta, the entrepreneurs that are creating scale-up companies, startup companies, as well as the opportunity for Alberta to attract major international and national companies to our province. Just last week, we had Rogers announce 500 jobs in the tech space. Recently, we've had RBC launch an innovation hub. So Alberta is on the map in innovation. And now it's time for us in the government to take on the exact same entrepreneurial spirit of the private sector. Many of our companies here are deploying artificial intelligence into their operations, finding efficiencies. And it's the same thing for us here. But what is, people talk about buzzwords in the tech space, they talk about ecosystems and quantum sciences, artificial intelligence, but it really comes down to solving complex problems and providing better services to taxpayers in a more efficient way. And consuming just an immense amount of data and information that'd be very difficult for any one individual to process, but by leveraging the technologies that are available now, providing a better service to Albertans. So to Minister Glubish, huge congratulations to your team in getting this off the ground and running. To the AltaML team and Mitacs, thank you for your partnership to make this a reality. This is a huge opportunity for the province of Alberta, and we're walking the walk on innovation. Thank you so much. Over to Cory.
Thank you, Minister Schweitzer and Minister Glubish. AltaML is proud to partner with the Government of Alberta to launch GovLab.ai and build a sustainable innovation practice that applies that agility that exists in the private sector to collaboratively solve problems in the public sector. At AltaML, we build tools to elevate human potential. We focus on applying responsible AI to empower people to make data-driven decisions. The origin of these labs is we started a program in Calgary a number of years ago, and from experience working in a number of key industries there, we know that digital transformation calls for an invested partnership. The success of that lab has been integral in increasing the talent pool of data science in Calgary, and so we know that that success can be replicated and expanded into this area. So we think that this announcement will be a game changer across Alberta, and it's about the brand here. People don't realize the amazing things that are happening. People don't realize the talent that is coming out of the U of A and the U of C. So much of this is about giving that opportunity for amazing brains that come from around the world, studying, get their master's and PhD, and make sure they stay here, get that first job here, and put down roots, and hopefully build a life as new Albertans. Minister Glubish talked a little bit about the wildfires use case. That one is personally very impactful for me. You think about not just the hard dollar costs, but the human tolls and being able to actually prevent emergencies or mitigate some of the damage in the future. We've also seen similar examples with flood detection. Imagine if we could use data to better detect when a disaster might strike so we could better prepare. And then at AltaML, we really care about the healthcare sector as well. We think that building tools driven by data will improve patient outcomes while at the same time reducing costs. There are literally hundreds of amazing use cases across government. Because if you're trying to do AI, you kind of need the data. And there's a ton of this data in government. But sometimes, maybe that's not necessarily the first choice for an ML engineer, a data scientist when they're looking for a career. We think that this program will help bridge that gap and communicate some of these purposeful, meaningful problems that can be solved right here. And also, as Minister Glubish mentioned, this provides a great opportunity for the talent pipelines for both the public sector and the private sector. What we've seen in Calgary is that many of our corporate partners there end up hiring those associates that come through the program, but many others stay and work in other parts of the ecosystem. So we actually think this is a way that government can help really enable by providing that first level of experience. There's going to be pathways both within government and for the broader community. This one-of-a-kind partnership will be able to really leverage that investment from the private sector, and as AltaML being to invest alongside government, we'll let Alberta know that this is the place for tech. Now, to say a few words on behalf of Mitacs, I'd like to welcome Mitacs' CEO, John Hepburn.
Well, it's a great pleasure to be back in Edmonton. The last time I was here was March 12th, 2020, a very famous day, and the day the pandemic was declared. That was my last trip. The next trip was going to be a vacation in London and Israel, I didn't get that trip, so I'm hoping that now that I'm back in Edmonton, London and Israel will come next, but maybe not quite yet. Too busy. So it's a great pleasure to be here, and it's great to be amongst friends, Minister Schweitzer, Minister Glubish. The Alberta government's a great partner with Mitacs, and of course, AltaML we've known for years and have participated with them in our small way in their journey of growth and innovation. Now, I don't need to tell this crowd that innovation is the key to future prosperity. And I did read the Alberta Tech and Innovation Strategy, and I think, 20,000 more jobs by 2030, that's not ambitious enough. I think that you need to aim higher. And we're here to help. I mean, I like goal 1, increase the depth of Alberta's technology and innovation talent pool. That's what Mitacs is all about. We're in the partnership business. We do partnerships with government, with companies like AltaML, and we drive the partnerships with talent. So talent is the key to the innovation. The students get not just work-integrated learning experience in an important area like machine learning, and let's face it, Alberta, the home of, Google Go, reinforcement learning, great power in machine learning in Alberta. And so Corey is right. The talent is definitely here at the universities and post-secondary institutions. Alberta needs to retain the talent. Alberta needs to exploit the talent. And I don't want to push this too hard because, of course, I live in the most expensive city on earth. And I don't want the talent in my part of the world, Vancouver, to find out that they can actually afford to buy a place to live in Calgary or Edmonton. Yeah, I know. This is a great danger. So I love Alberta, but, I'll temper my love. Take them from Toronto, which is also expensive. Okay? Yeah, no. Take them from Toronto, please. Anyways, great post-secondary institutions. There's a need, strong need for innovation if we're going to drive the economy forward, if we're going to keep the talent here and not have it leak south of the border. We've been working with AltaML, as I say. We've already done over 100 internships with AltaML. This agreement is a small beginning, the 150 that we've agreed to. We hope to do many, many more than that. We'd like to do, right now we're doing over 1,000 internships in Alberta. Again, that's not ambitious enough. We'd like to do thousands of internships in Alberta. I think the capacity is there. GovLab.ai, what a fabulous idea. All of the sort of what's wrong with Canadian innovation talk about why don't governments use local companies? Here's a local success story. They're going to solve problems for you guys and solve problems for us globally. I mean, the number of places, I want that wildfire prediction for where all the Calgarians seem to own property in the valley in BC. We have a wildfire problem too. So if you can solve problems here in Alberta that can then be exported to solve problems elsewhere, that's a win for everybody. And so, happy occasion for me because we've got a great partnership with the Alberta government. We have a great partnership with AltaML. And so now what's not to like? All three together. So this is fantastic and a very happy day. So thank you. I'm supposed to introduce Celia. Please.
Thanks, John, and thanks for being so passionate. So again, thanks, Ministers Glubish and Schweitzer. Thanks, Corey. Thanks, John. We're super excited about this launch. This closes the formal portion of the program. However, I'm going to invite Lindsay to address questions, to help address questions. Thank you.
Thanks. So we'll go to questions in the room first. So if you have a question, if you could just step up to that mic over there and then identify yourself and your outlet and to whom you're addressing the question. Okay, if there's no questions, we'll go to online. So operator, can you please put through the first caller?
Evan Nimick, CTV.
Hi there. I have a completely off-topic question for both of the ministers. A U.S. Supreme Court draft opinion shows a majority of justices are in favor of striking down the landmark Roe v. Wade abortion rights ruling. In Alberta, your party has several pro-life members who are supported by large pro-life groups. I'm wondering if you could share your stance on abortion rights in Alberta.
No, appreciate the question. I'd refer you to the commentary that was provided by our Minister of Women and Status of Women on that topic, as well as the Health Minister.
Did you have a follow-up?
So you're saying you have no opinion on abortion that you'd like to share?
I would say right now, this press conference is focused on artificial intelligence, innovation economy in Alberta, and I would refer you to the appropriate ministers to answer that question.
Thanks. Operator, can you please put through the next caller?
Catherine Grgowski, Alberta Today.
Hi. So you mentioned that in this lab there's going to be pilot stages, and then scale up, and then commercialization. So if any of these innovations reach that commercialization stage, who gets the money? Is it going to be split between coming back to government and the private companies and the post-secondaries, or who owns those intellectual property rights within this lab?
Well, thank you for the question. The GovLab.ai is all about partnering with Altamel and Mitacs and the Government of Alberta in order to create conditions to allow for more practical applications of AI inside of government to solve problems in new ways. The best way to do that is to do that at scale and to do that through cohorts every 4 months and tackling new test cases every 4 months. Some of these will turn into viable finished products, some of them will not. That's the nature of innovation and technology. So our goal is to get as many opportunities rolling, connecting expert leaders like Altamel and their team with young, talented innovators in our post-secondary systems to tackle these challenges and to develop new tools. Should those new tools eventually move forward towards commercialization, it would be premature to talk about exactly what each of those will look like, because each of those might look a little different. This is about getting started, creating proofs of concept and solving problems, and when those ultimately lead to use cases that will be commercializable, we'll tackle those on a case-by-case basis.
Did you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, and another plank of this technology and innovation strategy is the Alberta Data strategy, which I imagine is going to be important for this public lab. When are we expecting to see that strategy?
The Alberta government's data strategy is still a work in progress, but as you referenced, it is an important part of the overall conversation about data-driven innovation. Our goal is to try and create the conditions to ensure that we can use data more effectively to solve problems and to apply more technology to solve problems in new ways. By doing so, we can create enormous potential for job creation, investment attraction, economic growth, and diversification, while helping governments to evolve through the application of data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc., to develop new tools that will help us to be more effective at delivering better outcomes for Albertans. That, at its core, is what the Alberta government's data strategy is all about. There will, of course, be more details forthcoming once the strategy is complete.
Okay, so there's no more questions on the phone, so I'll go one more chance to the room. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great day.